Welcome back, pod people, to a brand new episode of Cinema d'Amore. I'm your host, Justin, and I'm here with
Chuck.
And we are going to be discussing Bugonia, Yorgos Lanthimos. This movie was, I'll say, an Oscar contender. Not really. I mean,
it was nominated for Oscars.
It had nominations. I don't understand how
it got nominated.
I can to a degree. I mean, we'll get into it, but the nominations that it had, Best Picture, just didn't seem like anything that most of the voters would enjoy. Emma Stone, I think, really does have a great performance in this movie, but I don't know. The competition was kind of steep this year at the Oscars, I felt. She wasn't doing Hamnet, so... And maybe people were tired of her. I have no idea. I guess not enough that they keep voting for her. They keep nominating her.
She's been in every single one of his movies for the past 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, maybe someone somewhere was like, all right, we get it. You guys are making movies.
He's done more movies with her now than movies before that I remember. Dogtooth, The Lobster, The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I don't know if I got the order right, but then we move into The Favorite, and then she must have been his favorite because she's been in every single thing since.
Yeah.
Lanthimos had a very good year with Poor Things, and I feel like when they're looking at the next films to nominate, they're kind of looking at the same people and seeing what they're up to and what they're doing.
Yeah, it felt like he was never a favorite to win any of the awards it was nominated for. It was just one of those, like, yeah, it's there.
Yeah, Poor Things is probably his best bet. He moves fast, though. I think the last couple of years, it's pretty much been a movie a year, because he did Kinds of Kindness, and then he got Bugonia out at the last minute last year. Yeah, this is going to kind of go back to back. It's a remake of Save the Green Planet, which is the episode that's been previously released. Part of this episode is going to be talking about and comparing those two movies to each other. Yeah. When I saw this movie, I'm just reiterating this, if maybe this is the only episode that you're listening to. I knew that there was a remake of Save the Green Planet, but I kind of got lost with who had it and who was doing it. I went into this one without even knowing the plot. I was like, oh, Lanthimos, let's go see what it is. It had the whole, I think this person that I captured is an alien. And I'm like, oh, fuck, this is Save the Green Planet. I'm in the theater watching this right now, and I already missed seeing the original. So I watched Bugonia, Save the Green Planet, and now I've watched Bugonia again. I really do like this movie a lot. I think it's just his style in general. The cinematography is always interesting. He always does shots that you're not used to seeing. A lot of them like very dead center with its main characters. Maybe he's always been doing it. I feel like he has absurd plots and he has the most grounded characters. At least that's like how they've been coming off to me. Like ever since I fell in love with The Lobster. Everyone's playing this so seriously. And it's about getting changed into an animal because you can't find love. Yeah, and I'm interested to see what he ends up doing next because he's already kind of taken Emma Stone. Now he's got Jesse Plemons, who was also in Kinds of Kindness. So I'm interested to see if he just starts like snowballing with all these same actors that he just continuously picks up.
You can see that happening. I mean, the plot's basically the same for like the major plot points.
But it's all about changes. So I guess what's the same? The same plot would be that there's a person that believes that they've discovered aliens. They figure out who they believe an alien is. Kidnap said alien. Cut off said alien's hair because it's antennas. They have a sidekick, each one, although they're differently portrayed. Goes back and forth to the point where the person seems just absolutely insane, but then has a good point every once in a while. And we're going to get into spoilers. You have a detective or cop in this situation that gets too close and gets killed because the person is also taking care of bees. Although this one probably puts the bee perspective more front and center.
It makes the bees more of the plot.
Yeah.
It was in Save the Green Planet. It was just like beekeeping was just his hobby that was involved in it, but they make it more of a plot point in this.
We have the sick mother that they're told to go get the stuff that they left in the car, which in this one, it's antifreeze. I think in the Save the Green Planet, it was just like a bottle that had the poison, like skull across crossbones on it or something. But yeah, that's supposed to be this cure to end the experiment, the aliens, the conspiracy that's all in this guy's head. and he ends up killing his mother. There's an escape, some murder, and then we get the big reveal, which I still think this movie was exciting because it could have still went either way, and it, spoilers, goes the way of her being an alien.
It didn't go a different way. Yeah,
It could have went a different way. It could have been
it could have.
not have been yeah. Also, I know you don't use Letterboxd, but if anybody listening does, when you log it, it does like to test that you're not a robot, and it says please select all the squares that have an alien in it, and it's just a picture of Emma Stone, and it's still there. I don't know if it'll ever run out or just be there for life. Like, yeah, we coded it into our program, so it's just got to stay there. Guess the real thing is getting into the changes, like what he has not met his girlfriend at a circus. He has no girlfriend, Teddy, who is the main character in this one. He has his cousin, Donnie, who has autism or something.
Yeah.
The movie doesn't even bring it up more than like we need each other. That's about as far as it goes. It doesn't have to tell you exactly what's going on more than you know that he's taking care of his cousin, and the few little things that we got is like they're the only two that are left pretty much in this family at this point, that we know of, besides like the halfway point when we realize that the mother is in a coma. Donnie, the secondary character, they give him like a lot more contemplation, and that they didn't give to the original girlfriend character, I felt, at all in Save the Green Planet.
Yeah.
They do have their dream sequences. I mean, they're somewhat crazy.
I don't know, but they're like more abstract than crazy, I guess.
Yeah, they feel like a nightmare or something, as opposed to Save the Green Planet, which kind of felt more like a fantasy that the person was having. We don't have a smart detective. We just kind of have a friendly...
Dumb cop.
Yeah, he seems real friendly. They repeat that scene where he comes into the house, but instead of a CCTV, it's like a baby monitor type situation. He does not say, hey, look at look an alien, and turn it off with his foot. That doesn't happen. It goes into the weird territory with the cop too, where he apologizes for like molesting the guy when he was a kid, which is weird, I think, in the way that like it doesn't seem to concern Teddy too much what's happened, but it also feels like it could potentially like explain something that
it's very
kind of
vague.
broke him.
It's like it feels like it's supposed to be an explanation for why he is the way he is, I guess. They never like say that, but it feels like that's the vague implication maybe that led to him being like this.
Yeah. And the writing seems a lot more poignant now too, that Teddy's like constantly talking about how he does his own research, and like he's dabbled into all these other like social.
There's a lot of like Eddington level stuff in there.
It really is. It's like, I did my own research. He has crazy ideas, but they always do kind of seem valid for the situation. Like when he does the chemical castration, he's like, we got to do it because we got to clear our minds. We can't be wanting to whack off. There is a point. I mean, I wouldn't say that Emma Stone's trying to seduce them. She's just being like nice. And Teddy's like, see, Donnie, if we didn't chemically castrate ourselves, she'd be seducing us right now. But we were the smart ones.
That's one of the things of. Do you think he actually did it, Teddy?
I don't know.
Because I don't think he did. I think he only did it to Donnie because he can't trust Donnie.
Maybe.
He's like one of those guys that, he's like, I do my own research and we're both committed to this. But I feel like there's a very specific reason of why they never show him doing it, because it's like he still thinks like, I can control myself. I'm normal. But I got to watch out for Donnie. Like Donnie can't handle things like this. So he tells her like, yeah, we both did this.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way that he keeps reiterating it, maybe it is to be like, yeah, I totally am not full of shit. I'm a good guy. I'm doing this with you. When they do the kidnapping, which they kidnap her at her house, and I don't know, it vaguely kind of reminds me of A Clockwork Orange, the way that they're like waiting with those weird masks on. The reason I was bringing it up, the kidnapping kind of goes into where they don't seem as smart as they should be. They're buying all these weird things together. I mean, they don't have a person that straight up questions them. He literally says they're not going to care, Donnie. He's right. Nobody cares. But they're literally buying like cables and bolts, shit like that. And then later in the movie too, we don't see the Mercedes around. And when she's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you got to go in the back of my car and get this." The hidden car is so fucking funny because it's like behind the tiniest tree with like just barely any brush on it, and it's like it's one of those moments that take you down to think like, okay, maybe he's not as they're complicating this protagonist, and maybe he's not honest. And I mean, you do have
Yeah.
that scene later too where she finally admits to being an alien and he's like, "Okay, then we'll do the next test," which is where they're like electrocuting her. Donnie gets upset and he's like, "You're going to kill her. This is way too intense." Pulls the plug on it and she survives. And he's like, "No one's ever survived it that much before." And Donnie's like, "Before?" So they do have like a little, like he's done this a few times apparently at this point. They still do go that same route of like, how many you've killed innocent people. And it's like, how many of them were actually aliens? It's like, just like two of them. But I'm so certain it was you. I do think the benefit from watching this movie at least more than once is the first time I'm watching it, I kind of feel like, maybe she's innocent, maybe she's not. But when you're watching it and you know what she knows and what she's lying about, and how some of the stuff that he's like scientifically figured out is actually working, like the cream and all that, this weird ass shit that just seems like a psychopath would come up with and couldn't possibly, like, how would you even get that information? When he talks about doing his research and he knows what the ship was going to be like, and he has like the 3D printed model of the ship, and when we see the ship at the end, it is exactly that ship 100%. I also like the play on the original movie. They would do shots of outside showing planet Earth from space, and I like
It
how,
was flat in this one.
yeah, I do like how this one kept like
I do really like that one, that like leaning into like probably another conspiracy theory that maybe he believes in but doesn't say anything, is that he probably also is like a flat earther and they keep showing the earth as flat. Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, it was very good. And then it's also like their like the aliens diagram for what the planet Earth looks like. It's just
Yeah,
the flat Earth.
it is a flat earth. Yeah,
Uh
I did enjoy that.
but it is cool because they do it in like
And she literally, the way they destroy the planet isn't by blowing it up, but she like pops the dome,
yeah,
so it's like it is exactly like yeah, it's a flat earth with a big dome on top.
yeah, which I know we're jumping around a lot, but that's okay. That's just how this conversation's going to be. So, yeah, she pops it. We get this montage of just like every human being dead. Animals are not dead. I don't necessarily, I mean, I guess unless it goes into the conspiracy of like animals aren't real.
Like birds aren't real and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
like birds aren't real because like there's still dogs and there's still cats. I don't remember if they showed any other animals, but I mean they would. It almost would like have to go into that thought. They do have that same really funny moment too, where when the protagonist of Save the Green Planet and Emma Stone gets to her ship, they're like, "Why didn't you reach out to us?" And they're like, obviously they cut off my hair. it's, it's the only way that they could communicate with me."
Yeah, I think between the two movies, I think I still think Save the Green Planet's the better of the two of them,
Hmm.
and I do just and I think I like the style of that one a lot more. Like you're kind of right. He Lanthimos takes like these really absurd premises and makes all the characters very grounded. I think can work. And like if this was the only version of this movie, if it was like his own original idea and I only saw this one, I'd be like, "Oh, that was good." But when I have the comparison of both of them, I think I just really enjoyed all the insanity of Save the Green Planet a lot more, the way that kind of goes in there. I like even the scenes that he does exactly the same, like how we described before, that like you're expecting something to be funny or interesting and then it's just not, like with the cop coming in and him shutting off the monitor. It's literally just the cop like turns around for a second and he turns off the monitor. It's just like a super basic shot. And I'm like, it's hilarious in the original movie when he's like, "Oh my god, a UFO," and then he's like turning it off with his foot from like across the room. Like things like that were good. Him having like his dog that he talks about like feeding aliens to, just all those kind of like little absurdities. And it feels like Lanthimos makes up for that in other ways by just being instead of being crazy with some stuff, it's just being super gory in moments, like when Donnie kills himself with a shotgun. And it's just like it feels unnecessary. Where it's like, I don't know, I'd take the other version where it's just kind of more slapstick comedy of something of that instead of just being that. Oh, although I will say the very end of Jesse Plemons' head exploding and hitting her in the face, like I wanted more moments like that, like
Yeah.
more just like absolutely ridiculous,
Well,
stupidly comedic moments like that.
they're all like also when I watch this movie through the lens that she's an alien, when she's talking to Donnie in the basement when Teddy's out with the cop you know, trying to keep her quiet. Donnie's trying to keep her quiet. There's like lens flares when it's his when the camera's on him where she should be. There's lens flares like glitching from like the bottom corner of the screen, and so I don't feel like it's random that he kills himself. I feel like that happens. She manipulated him somehow. I don't know if it's because I don't know the cream wore off or something, but
Yeah,
he after they kind of come to like a deal, and he seems really out of nowhere that he shoots himself. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that just seems random. And the second time I watched it, I was like, I think yeah, she did end up doing something to him, like convincing him. Yeah, the moment you're talking about where Teddy takes her back, he's all strapped up with the dynamite and or the C4. I can't remember what he had, but the explosives that he had on him. And
and I do like that scene. The way the transporter scene works in that is a little funnier than in Save the Green Planet, where she just pulls out like a crappy desk calculator and is like,
yeah,
it's like a I don't know, like a 58 digit number, and I just gotta enter it, and you get the sense like at first you think she's just making it up, and because she's just typing random numbers in, and then when she's like, and yeah, then you just get in the closet and it'll transport you, and I'll see you there.
I,
Like you just still keep thinking she's not doing anything, and yeah, when it explodes with him in it, and his head just comes flying out at her and
smacks in her
knocks her
head.
out.
Yeah. Well, another thing too that I think is great is watching that scene and knowing that she's an alien, and they do make a comment about him exploding, probably because of like the static electricity. So it kind of
Yeah.
also ties to like she has some minor ability to be able to like do that. So I feel like
Well, either
she's
that or I just assume that like the transporter works on like static electricity or something like that. Like, and she might not have realized that it was gonna blow him up, putting him in there.
yeah, and then I think what's another really good moment too is well we have that gruesome scene of when he goes to the hospital to try to like revive his mom, and he smacks her in the knee, and she it has that like gross looking like her knees just like loose in her leg,
Yeah.
which was probably the hardest thing to watch. And she does some crazy shit to get the key out of the guy's pocket. I don't know how she knew where it was, and then yeah, that's where she discovers like the second room down there in the basement that has like the bodies in jars. But after the explosion and they take her to they take her in the ambulance. I do like how she like gets up, gets out of the ambulance, has to walk. It seems like a block back to the offices, and she she does like she gets in that when she goes into that closet, like by that point you're like, oh, she's absolutely like an alien. There's like no
Yeah.
reason for her to be going back in there. And I just like all the stuff that like you said the calculator just seemed like like some bullshit thing that she was making him do was like 100% accurate, like the truth that would have brought him aboard. And I really do like that set too for the aliens. Like it's a very Star Trek esque like inspired set.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it feels like a prop set. Like it doesn't remotely feel like a real place. But yeah, I mean, side by side, I still really did like Begonia a lot. It's just completely different takes. I do think that you're right. Not knowing the plot beforehand is interesting, and I kind of wish they might have made more changes than this one pretty much sticks to. the exact same premise, except the things that make it feel wildly different is the time. Because Save the Green
Yeah.
Planet, the guy just seems like a conspiracy nut and kind of almost seems like a very far-fetched crazy person. And Jesse Plemons' character felt like a very real person that we've been dealing with the last couple years in the United States.
Yeah.
That
There's a
just
lot of differences like culturally, and yeah, like Save the Green Planet was like very very early internet, whereas this is like this is a character that's been like raised on the internet his entire life, so he's always been he. I mean, he even says that he's been through every version. He was like, I was on the alt right, the alt left, the like I've been
Marxist
every
and yeah,
version. Yeah, like I've yeah I've been everything.
which is just another thing that makes him more unreliable. It makes you feel that he could
He can be
absolutely have
easily
this
swayed.
maybe easily, yeah, he can definitely be easily swayed. He could definitely be wrong with this. You know, like I mean, the movie could have done virtually anything. It could have made her a person and made Donnie the alien or something. You know what I mean? Like anything
Yeah,
could have happened. I think part of the charm of both of these movies is that these crazy ass people end up being right. I don't know if that's thematically a good message for both movies to have, but even like when they're like, "Well, you survived this test, so you're clearly have royal blood," and they are very much like in charge whenever they go back, and they're uh, like even this one, I don't know exactly what their experiments are, but they're like, "Yeah, we failed all but two," and they're not gonna. Those two aren't
he
going
don't
to.
look good
They're
either.
not going to
Yeah,
succeed. So let's just get rid of
yeah.
it.
I do wonder, like knowing that the original director was supposed to do this version of it, like how much like did he have any input or did he like I mean I know he's still an executive producer listed on it, but is this just completely Lanthimos did everything? I know he's not the writer on it, but is this all just coming from just a completely new perspective on it? Like what the original director's version would have been for an English language remake? Like would he have retained more of the weird, fantastical elements
Hmm.
of the original just in an American setting, and then would it not have as much impact because you'd be like, nah, that doesn't make any sense. Like an American wouldn't act like that because I feel like you could also have that type of like cultural issue of someone coming from Korea or Japan or something and directing Americans and it feeling not correct because you know what people in America are like and you're like, nah, that's like a stereotypical weird version of America that he's got.
Yeah, a lot of times a foreign director will come here and
I
the
mean, Lanthimos isn't American either,
I
but
know, but
he's
like,
European, so it's still a different perspective.
but it's like when they're doing a English language, it's usually, you know, Asian to English and, you know, like the Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Mandarin, and those directors, they'll get the, I mean, obviously the dialogue's fine, and they'll get the action right, and the blocking and all that stuff makes sense, but like the small stuff that just is what doesn't work. Like you'll feel
Yeah,
like the characters don't believe anything that they're saying because they can't get that, like they don't have the right performance with the camera that's going to be like, especially this movie, usually like straight up on everyone's faces. Like this movie
yeah.
was like, I want to be inside their their pores.
I mean, that's why I think like someone like uh, Bong Joon Ho has done well with his English language films, but both of his movies that he's chosen to do English language versions of, they're adaptations of books and other media, and they're also set in future societies where there's kind of not really countries, like they're very multiracial, multi ethnic. So he kind of gets away with there's no specific point of view of like there's no pre-existing like oh that guy doesn't know how to direct American actors, which I feel like has been with other directors like the what's his name, the guy that did the good, the bad, and the weird. I think he was the one
Mhm.
that did the movie with
Yeah.
The Last Stand with Arnold
Hmm.
Schwarzenegger. And that movie is one where the action's all pretty great, but like the characters and the dialogue all feels very stilted, and it feels very much like I was saying, like it came from like a translator to someone else telling them like how to do things, and it feels very stiff and not very
It
natural
could be
because
like
he
a
tried to make like an
trust.
American Western.
It could be a trust issue too. Like Bong
Mm,
Joon Ho might just kind of, like he was hanging out with Robert Pattinson a lot while they were doing or before they were doing Mickey 17. I don't know how long he was with like Chris Evans or whatever, but these are generally good actors. So I feel that maybe, he just kind of trusts them. Like he just kind of feels that like he just trusts that they've delivered the lines and everything the way that is going to pass over to the foreign audience.
yeah.
Another weird thing though I think is, well, not maybe not weird is the right word, but when we watch these foreign films, they usually feel so refreshing because they don't seem to feel like anything that we're getting over here. And you pretty much every single country that's not the United States does absorb movies from the United States and listen to the music. I mean, um, Save the Green Planet with their Wizard of Oz song that was like like in English and everything. I don't think that there's
Yeah.
very many movies where the American director would just have a foreign song in their movie if it wasn't some sort of like Latin America scene or something. They're just very stereotypical in
Yeah.
what happens. I do though think if had I seen Save the Green Planet and realized that Bugonia was the Save the Green Planet remake or that Lanthimos was doing it, I think that I would actually exactly exactly picture the movie as it is, as it actually turned out. Like if you told me that like he was gonna follow it pretty closely, I would think like these are the shots that we're gonna get. Um, he does a really good job of just keeping a conversation very interesting. I think with two people or three if Donnie's there, if Donnie's allowed to talk, and just the all the different angles and stuff that they'll go through. And yeah, he's just it's not like a simple back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a lot of times they'll do like a wide shot with everybody. Like I thought that one shot, maybe because he's just he was on that shot for so long. But when the cop was in the house with Teddy's like dead center in the frame, and the cop's like way far off on the side of the frame. So there's like all this wide open space. I don't know if Lanthimos is like trying to like say that he's protecting space or protecting outer space, or that might just be crazy to think that much. But I do like the idea that Teddy is the focus, so he's dead center in the frame. And fuck that other cop, fuck that other character that is not the main guy. Like I don't care if he's slightly out of the frame either. Like I do not care about him. And you get a lot of shots like that when Emma Stone wakes up and she starts her day. Almost everything, she's just dead center in the shot, dead center in the shot, constantly, 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 constantly. I do like seeing that. I mean, I also kind of don't 100% know what she's in control of everything, I guess, because she seems to be doing some sort of pharmaceuticals, obviously, but then her warehouse job doesn't seem like it would be pharmaceuticals. It just seems like a straight up like Amazon uh equivalent.
Yeah. I do like this is like such a small minor thing, but another kind of like goofy thing I do like is the at the very beginning you get she's recording those videos and sending out messages, and then she's telling her assistant, "Oh, make sure we want to make a new culture here. Make sure everyone knows that they can leave at 5:30. But like it's not mandatory that they leave at 5:30, but they can leave at 5:30. You know, they can be with their families." like, if they have work, like we got to be professional about this.
They do.
So like
Yeah, they have to finish their
leave
work.
early, but like, it's you don't have to stay, but just make sure. And like even when she's like leaving that day and tells the valet like, hey, it's 5:30, you can leave. I mean, if you want to, if you're done for the day. I mean, if you got other stuff to do though, but it is 5:30. And then she does the exact same thing when she's getting when she's walking with Teddy back into the office and everyone's staring because it's like so everything's very suspicious, and she keeps trying to like make it casual and be like, "Hey guys, it's 5:30. Don't forget, we can all go home if we feel like it."
Mind you, she's been missing for a couple
Yeah,
days.
she's been missing for like almost a week or something like that, and she's just like trying to keep it casual, like
Just
it's
shows up
5:30,
in the
guys.
office all disheveled.
With a
Um,
random guy.
yeah, and I do like she does come off as like very intelligent, where like in the beginning she's doing that, like she's saying all the right things. She's saying all the things that she would have been taught to say, and she sounds like she's very on board with it. And even when she's first kidnapped and talking to Teddy, it was very much like, I hear you, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, but it was all very much like how to de-escalate a situation. It was really like
Yeah,
being trained to do that type of stuff.
yeah.
Um,
Which is different from the original, where the guy's just belligerent the entire time and like just screaming at that guy. And it's like, you're such a moron. I can't believe you're actually doing this, you stupid idiot.
or like whenever she uh starts getting treated nicer because she's revealed to be like royalty, and he gets
Yeah.
that wig, and the wig is his mom's wig. So like inside the wig, I don't know how common it is that you write your name down inside your wig like that. That's definitely my wig. I don't want anyone taking it. But yeah, she sees the S Gats and she's like, your mom's Sandy Gats. Like, so like if she's a human, like she's she's a very good memory. Um and if she's an alien, then obviously she knows this person because they're only doing so many people left to experiment on. I love the experiment. I love that. I mean, I know the scene's exactly the same thing, but something kind of much more intense watching Jesse Plemons on the bicycle, but him going into the room and his and just like, Mom, I know it looks like antifreeze, but it's not antifreeze.
Yeah.
They do have a good moment too where like she's clearly dying, but like the first moment seems like it might wake her up. She's kind of like that's like writhing in pain and dying. And
When he jumps out the
yeah, I
window,
was
that
gonna
felt like
say,
a
does he
very
just,
Wes Anderson moment. When he jumps out the window and it's just that shot of the lady leaning out, going, "Hey,
yeah, when he's running down the
hey,
stairs, hey
hey."
you come back here. That and like Lanthimos really likes to linger, so I felt that the end of this movie where they go over all the shots of,
Everyone dead.
yeah, just of the world had recently died. So like you do,
All the things they were doing.
yeah, like all in the middle of like the most mundane shit that they were doing, and but he doesn't have like very many shots that are a lot of people. Like you're not like at the most you see like a nightclub, but you don't see like a city. You don't see like Tokyo or New York with like a bunch of people laying on the ground.
Yeah.
So when you get all these shots, I think it's easily like 30 different completely different shots. And I would love to know how they did them. I wonder if they just kind of like went around and like, did they get in a boat and they're like, can you guys just all pretend to be dead for a little bit? I mean, it's probably all special effects, but I would like to just imagine that, somebody's on a cruise and it's like, hey, for one shot here, I have my camera with me. Can everybody just play dead for a little bit? But yeah, and then it does full circle where it ends with the bee, and every discussion about the bee and what is it called, the CCD,
Yeah.
and yeah, where the bees, like the third of the bees have died off, and when he's questioning her and she brings that up, he's like, you would bring that up, you do know about it because you're the one doing it. And she's just like, no, I just know a lot of stuff. And like, she's smart, so like, she could know a lot of stuff. It's a good double feature. I didn't. The one thing I would say about it is, obviously, I'm ruining the movie right now. If you're going in without trying to go out without spoilers,
Yeah.
even though a lot of the stuff happens the same, it's only a few the plot points kind of happen the same. The performances are different enough that I don't think it would bore anybody. And
Yeah, the style is completely different.
I do think it's interesting because like they could have not have followed through. Like I do kind of like the Lanthimos ending better, of like you said, popping the air and then it just shots of everybody dead, as opposed to just the planet blowing up
Just
and them like
blowing it up,
flying
yeah.
away. It's just way more interesting to just see like.
Also, because it feels like it makes more sense because they talk about like how they really like even in the first movie, like he says it's because they love the planet, they just hate the people on the planet. So it feels like it makes more sense to just
Save the green
destroy
planet.
the people on the planet. Yeah, it feels like Lanthimos ending does make more sense from that perspective, that they don't want to completely get rid of the planet. They just want to get rid of all the people on the planet.
But the Save the Green Planet aesthetic is a lot more fun. Like you said, whenever he shows up at that guy's job and he's got like the strainer on his head with like all the gizmos and stuff, and he's wearing the trash bag, and the guy's like, can I help you? And he's just like a total psychopath from like the beginning. Yeah. And even this one, like the fact that they're like, we're gonna talk to an alien, so we got to get dressed up, we got to wear our suits, and I don't know if it's like Teddy's hair and his little and Donnie's hair, but I get like Pulp Fiction vibes when they go in there with their hairstyles. I also do really like the we got to wear our suits, we got to be nice for this, and by the time the cop comes to the door and it's like, hey, you said I could stop by whenever I wanted. He's wearing the suit. He's like more disheveled than normal. Like there's blood and like spaghetti sauce like all over his clothes. And I actually kind of think, in hindsight, thinking about how the scene played out now, I wish they didn't turn the baby monitor off. I just wish that the police officer was totally oblivious to everything.
Just yeah,
because like
he just seems like he's not a good cop anyway.
No, like he's not a good person. He apparently molested a child, yeah. but which made it better for him to die, I guess. His death's violent too, getting beat in the head with that shovel, more than just falling off the cliff, and then there's bees all over the guy and Save the Green Planet. But goes over to their house. They just recently put some sort of like cellophane or aluminum on all the windows, and like he's got his alien thing like taped to the wall, and he does the same thing with the book too. Like, here, you should have a copy of this book. It'll open your eyes about aliens. And then when he's like, oh, what's with the chains on the chair? And Teddy does have like a very good explanation, like, oh, my mom, who has the issues, had a lot of these like convulsions and was like all over the place, so like for her safety we had to do it. And that cop's just immediately like, oh, okay. Yeah, and I kind of like they have to work differently too. In this one, when they're out at the bees, out at the, I don't know what you want to call it, the hive where the honey is at, and they hear the gunshot, and that's when Teddy almost instantly reacts to whacking the cop with the shovel. Like, I have to kill this guy. There's no way out of it. And Save the Green Planet's a lot more methodical, where he does like a villain thing where like he explains nectar before he throws it on the guy. And it's like the scene from Home Alone with the birds. Like, he just threw birdseed on him. Bees love nectar. They're instantly gonna attack this guy. He's trained. They're attack bees. He's been training them. But yeah, think did you watch this on Peacock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on Peacock. Save the Green Planet was on the Arrow Player, I think. So if you want to watch it, Arrow Player is a terrible name, but that's Arrow Video's streaming service. It literally is making me think of the iTunes player from 20 years ago. You know, there'd be like a head or something. You'd watch like wavelengths go through the skull. Anyways, I think that pretty much sums up this episode. Hopefully, it's been a busy month. We've had something every single Friday this entire month. We'll take a week off. We'll move into Chuck's pick. We'll do 2 Chuck's picks. I don't know if they'll be back to back. I don't know if they'll be a week separated, but April's Chuck month. I hope everybody enjoys it. We'll see you there. Thanks for listening. We're Cinema D'Amore. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with news and information on upcoming episodes. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, Alexa, or iHeartRadio. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. We also appreciate feedback, so rate us, review us, and let us know what you think. And above all else, thank you for listening.